Hello, and welcome to another episode of Quick and Nerdy, an MSP-friendly how-to channel dedicated to Veeam-powered BaaS and DRaaS offerings. And also, welcome to another episode of VDC for VCSP BC. That's right, Veeam Data Cloud for Veeam Cloud and Service Providers Bootcamp. This is video number 2 in the series. In the last video, we talked about how you get your Veeam Data Cloud licenses or subscriptions, as they're referred to, in the Pulse portal. Getting that initial email sent to you, inviting you to the Veeam Data Cloud platform so that you can start offering managed services. Now we're going to get into onboarding using those subscriptions. I'm not going to go through each and every step of the onboarding process. I've got an interactive demo where you can choose the product that you want to onboard, and it will walk you through every single step. This video is more of just an overview to kind of get an idea of what options are available and how the onboarding goes. So which products are available today? We've got Veeam Data Cloud for 365, which is Exchange, SharePoint, OneDrive, and Teams. We've got out-of-the-box immutable storage with Veeam Vault, backup for Intra ID, Veeam Backup for Azure environments. This is your Azure infrastructure like VMs, file shares, databases, and more. And finally, Veeam Data Cloud for Salesforce. Of course, this is always going to be changing. We're going to have more and more products coming, but this is what's available now. Also, keep in mind that all of the backup products are based on the Veeam software. So like, for instance, Veeam Data Cloud for 365 is just Veeam Backup for 365 under the hood with a SaaS wrapper. The Veeam Data Cloud Vault is based on Azure storage on the back end, Azure Cool Blob to be specific, and all of the APIs and egress are included. So these are the products available today and what you can onboard your tenants to with the service provider program. Now, there's 2 types of onboarding as a service provider that you can offer. The first is direct onboarding. This is where you as the partner are doing the initial onboarding. You're entering in all the credentials, choosing all the initial steps. So for this, you'll need to be the global administrator for the products that require that. So for instance, 365, you need to be the global admin, or at least you need to be able to enter in those credentials using MFA with the device flow code. Now, one interesting thing I've seen is service providers who maybe they're not the global admin, and the customer is not just going to give them those credentials over email, but they still want to perform this service for the tenant. So what they'll do is they'll maybe get on a screen share, and when they get to that step, they'll simply copy and paste the link that takes you to the single sign-on with Microsoft, and the customer can enter in those credentials, do the device flow code, and then the service provider completes the rest of the process. So whatever kind of way you want to do that, there's multiple options for this direct onboarding. When you go this route, you as the partner have access by default to create jobs, do restores, view everything going on in the environment, look at logs. You can invite the customer to do some co-managed IT. Maybe you do the backups and restores and you invite a couple users to restore emails or just get visibility into the environment or have all the capabilities that you do as the service provider. In this scenario, the partner will open up tickets for the tenant with Veeam support. If you have a problem, you're the service provider, you own the license, so you work with Veeam support. Now, the other option is self-service invite. So in this scenario, maybe the customer is self-sufficient or they want to do the initial onboarding. So Veeam will send an email to the tenant based on the email you provide, and you tell us who to send it to. They will log into Veeam Data Cloud and they'll be presented with the steps to do the initial onboarding. If you choose this option, just know that partner management is disabled by default. So you won't be able to do any backups, restores. You won't even be able to view what's going on in the environment. Now, the customer can still enable this. So, and I'll be sure to show you guys how this is done in the portal. But basically, there's a tab that turns on and off partner delegated access. So the customer could still do the self-service to set everything up, and then they could turn partner management on, and boom, now you have the ability to do backups, restores, and the like. The customer can still have access, again, in kind of a co-managed fashion. And keep in mind that the direct onboarding we talked about, where you have access by default, keep in mind that if you send an invite to the customer to let them have access to the Veeam Data Cloud portal, they can turn partner management off. So you have access by default to do backups, restores. You invite the customer to log into Veeam Data Cloud for their tenant, and they can turn that partner management off after the fact. Now you can't do any backups and restores. So it can go both ways, but all options are available, and it's very easy. You're still the partner. You still have control at the end of the day to, if you wanted to remove that tenant, or just like remove a specific user or permission. So don't worry, you still have control at the end of the day, but the customer also has some control, and you can do some sort of co-manage. Now, in the self-service method, even if the customer's doing everything and you're not doing any kind of services, you still have to work with Veeam support. Veeam will not speak to the customer in these scenarios because you, the partner, are the one who owns the licensing. So that's pretty much it for our slides. Let's jump into Veeam Data Cloud and we'll take a look at some of the onboarding capabilities. All right, so here we are in Veeam Data Cloud. I am logged in as the service provider. I can see that in the top left up here. Of course, I've already got a bunch of subscriptions and tenants that have been onboarding. First time you log in, you may not see as much stuff populated, but let's start by just picking a product, and I'm going to go with the most popular, and that is the 365. So I'll click on the tile of the product that I want to onboard a tenant into. And again, you may not see anything here the first time, but I'm going to add tenant. Now the subscription, this will only show if you have created a subscription back in Pulse, which was from video number 1. So I'm going to choose a subscription, and you may have multiple subscriptions. If you've created them, this may just be the first one, but all these subscriptions will be here, including ones that you've already used. Now you can use the same subscription more than once. There are some use cases for that, mainly with Vault, but you can more or less use them with everything. I think there are some anomalies with Salesforce. Salesforce, I think, has some limitations around that last time I checked. And with most of the backup products like the 365, the Salesforce, the Azure, you're typically going to want to use one subscription for each tenant. But again, with most of these products, you can use the same subscription more than once. So I'm going to use an unused subscription. All right, and we'll just pick the product, and you can also see the different subscriptions here like Flex and Premium. We talked about that in the last video as well. So I'll choose a subscription here. This gives the tenants whatever kind of entitlements to the product. And these are the two methods that I mentioned, the direct onboarding and the invite. If it's invite, I choose the email address of this particular tenant, and I will send them an invitation. Now, one thing to keep in mind is there are two domains in Veeam Data Cloud on the service provider model. There is the VCSP domain, the domain of the service provider who owns the licensing and the specific Veeam Data Cloud. And there's the tenant or customer domain, right? And when I say domain, I'm speaking about their email. So customer.com, serviceprovider.com. And of course, each customer has their own domain. You can only invite users of the customer's domain. So if a customer is example.com, you can only invite users at example.com to be users of that tenant. And of course, you can invite other techs from your company. So service provider example.com, you can invite other techs at the service provider level for certain role-based access, which we'll get into in another video. So if you're ever trying to send an invite to a customer and you choose a different domain, you're going to get an error message. So we'll go with direct onboarding here so we can continue through the process. We'll click next. All right, and so here we'll put in the name of the tenant, just call it customer. So for 365, we're picking a storage region. Most of the products have a region that you're keeping the backups in. Even Vault has a region of where the storage is, an Azure data center. And so you'll pick the storage region for the tenant. This is where I'm mentioning the global admin credentials. So you could copy this code and link and give it to the customer. They could enter this in and put in their global admin credentials, or you can do it for them. There's some advanced settings here. And we would go to the next setting where you would pick your retention. And again, some of these steps are different for the different products, but this is the basic flow of just going through. And most of this is more or less straightforward. And again, there is the interactive demo in the link of description if you want to go step by step and get a little more detail for each product. Let's take a look at one more, and we'll choose storage this time. So Vault, we'll click Add Tenant, and we'll choose a subscription. So this one I'm going to reuse a subscription just because we do have Azure and AWS here, but I want to choose Azure, and I've only got the used subscriptions, but we'll just choose this one. I've got the Foundation and the Advanced. Those are the two different flavors of Vault. And once again, direct or send an invite. We'll do direct. We'll click next. And so here I'll put in a tenant name, and I will choose a name of my Vault bucket, call it bucket, and I'll choose a country, and that's it, right? Obviously, there's no retention. That's set up in the backup and replication. So there's some differences depending on the product, but this is the basic flow of onboarding. Choosing direct or send an invite. Make sure you have the correct domain of the tenant if you're sending an invite. And go through the process, put in whatever permissions that you need. We will connect to that tenant, or we will provision that storage, and you'll be ready to go. Couple more things here. If we look at the gear icon on the top right, you can see that I'm a service provider because I've got this customer settings tab, right? So sometimes if I'm in a call with a partner and they're looking at an environment and I want to know if they're logged in as the service provider or if they're logged in as a tenant, maybe they're a tenant in their own environment. So they're the service provider, but they can also log in as a user of their own internal environment. I'll kind of use this to gauge what they're logged in as. If I go to customer settings here, I can choose a specific customer and I can invite a user, right? And if I try to put in, so I'm going to put in my Veeam email here. Okay. All right, so I'm going to make them an admin. And if I click send invite, it says email does not belong to this organization's Microsoft tenant, right? Because again, this on Microsoft.com is my domain here. So I can only send emails to at 2cc00r.onmicrosoft.com. It would have to be a user there. And if I do, I can create specific roles for different products. And I can send an invite, or I can just make them an admin. I can also use intra ID groups, but we're going to get into that a little more in some other videos. Just kind of wanted to show you what it's like about inviting customers and some of the ins and outs. One last thing here, I'm going to log out as the tenant, and now I'm going to log in as the customer to show you the partner enablement or partner delegated management. So I'm going to log in as the customer, put in my password here. Okay, do a little MFA, single sign-on. Okay, so now I'm logged in as the customer, and you can see I only have a single subscription. I've got two for Vault, but kind of a single subscription for each product. This is me as the customer, and I can still do the management because I've been invited to my own tenant by my service provider for whatever specific permissions and operations that I need. All right. So I can see here that, I pretty much have whatever permissions that I want to create jobs, to do restores, to view what's going on in the environment. But what I wanted to show you is if I click the gear icon on the top right, you'll notice that I don't have that customer users button, right? Instead, I have this partner access button. So I was invited by my partner. They have full management of my environment, but now I don't want them to manage anything anymore. So I'm going to turn delegated management off. And now I'm going to log back in as the service provider real quick. All right, so sped up the video to save you the all the clicks there. But now I'm going to, so you can see here, I'm logged in as the service provider again. I'm going to go to Microsoft 365. And this is that customer that just a moment ago I had full access to manage, and now I can't click on them. I can't edit them. I can't even see what's going on. All I know is they have 17 protected objects, but I can't really get much more information than that. If I wanted to get access, they would have to re-enable that, or I would just have to remove them from my environment, just cancel their subscription altogether if, for some reason I wasn't able to get back in and I wanted to. So that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.